Hi everyone, it's Erin Johnson with OutstandingOhio.com, and I am here today with a very exciting Family Fun Friday. If you're anything like me, these last 9-10 months, it's been a challenge to find the fun, to find things that you feel safe doing with your family, finding ways to gather with friends or extended family, and the Zoom calls. Everybody's a little bit zoomed out, particularly kids that are online all day for school, and it's challenging to still find the fun. And I kind of challenged myself last month to do a fun virtual party for my daughter. It was her 13th birthday, and she didn't want to do a party because of the coronavirus. And she said, "Mom, it's no fun to do virtual. You can't talk." And I realized that for these kids, that's their experience with Zoom and virtual things, is that they're on there, they're on mute, they can't speak unless they're told that they can unmute or they raise their hand, and it isn't fun. And so I really put on my thinking cap and did a little bit of research and came up with a fun list of things that we could do to really celebrate her birthday. I didn't want the 13th birthday to go unnoticed. We always do fun parties. And so we came up with some fun things. So I wanted to share some of those with you. And then I also did a virtual party for my both sides of our family for Christmas that had adults and kids. So we did some different things for that. And actually my brother hosted one for Thanksgiving, and he had a few fun things there too. So I have 21 virtual party ideas that you can use for kids' birthday parties, gatherings with your coworkers, with your friends, with your extended family, whoever you want to connect with, you could use these ideas. And so without further ado, here we go, but make sure you watch till the end for the best ideas. My two favorite I'm saving for the very end. So, okay, so the first three ideas are ideas related to hunting for things in your house. So many of you may have participated in some version of a scavenger hunt online, and that can be pretty fun. Like, hey, how quickly can you go get a banana or whatever it is, the remote control or a pen, and show it to the camera and who could do it the fastest. It gets a little challenging when people are in different spots in their house, so maybe they have to run upstairs to get it, or maybe it's right in front of them, and so I feel like that gives people a little bit of an advantage or disadvantage, but that can be fun. So scavenger hunts is one activity. But another version that could be put a little bit more spin on it, be a little bit more challenging, be a little bit more creative, is go find something. So similar to scavenger hunt, except you're not telling them exactly what to go get, you're telling them to go find something that meets a certain criteria. So go find something round, or go find something soft, or go find something with a pattern on it, or go find something crunchy, or go find 5 of the same thing. So you can have a lot of fun with coming up with different things, and you'll be a little bit more surprised at what people come back with. It might create more of a conversation to see what people found. So that's the second version of hunting for something. And then the third is one I made up and we did for my daughter's birthday, which is what's missing. So because she was turning 13, we had everybody on the call collect 13 items and then show them to us. And we looked at them for 20 or 30 seconds, and then they took their camera off the items, and then they took one away and rearranged them a little bit, and then showed the camera back to the items again, and we had to try to figure out what was missing. Now, I will say it got a little tricky depending on people's camera situations. If the cameras are attached to their computers, it can be challenging, and 13 maybe was too many to get all in the screen. So if you want to try that game, maybe try it with 8 or 10 and see how it goes. But it was a lot of fun to try to remember and try to see what was missing. So those are the first 3 online virtual activities, which are under the umbrella of On the Hunt and things you can hunt for. The next 3 games I'm going to share with you are under the umbrella of movement, so on the move. The first is Charades, which is a classic game, and you can let people come up with their own thing that they want to do, and you can do the first word, how many syllables, and do it a little bit more complicated. Or for younger kids, for our family Christmas party that involved some younger kids, I actually texted the parents and said, hey, write these things on a piece of paper, and made them simpler, like brushing your teeth or riding a bike. Because sometimes kids have a hard time coming up with things on their own. So you can do that as an option, and then have everybody else try to guess what it is. Another fun thing, especially for little kids, would be to do a freeze dance party. So play some music, have everybody dance, get up and dance around, and then when the music stops, they have to freeze, and funny poses and things like that. And then another game that I saw that was fun, we didn't get a chance to try it, was movement memory. So this is similar to the name game that you may have played where you're like, hi, I'm Aaron and I like eggs, and you do maybe like your name and something that starts with a letter. And then the next person says their name and something that starts with a letter, and you have to repeat every person along the line. This one is on movements. So I suppose you could also do your name, especially if you don't know each other, but not necessary, but each person does a movement. So I might, clap 3 times, and then the next person might do this, and then the next person might do this. And so you have to remember, like, clap 3 times, and then it's this, and then it's this. And so you're going around the Zoom, and everybody has to add a movement to the thing. And then by the end, the last person has to remember them all, which could be challenging. But I thought that could be a fun game and something that maybe kids might get into. Okay, so we've got 3 on the hunt, 3 on the move. Now we've got, 5 game show games. So these are a lot of fun. The first is Kahoot. A lot of kids are playing Kahoot at school. It's basically just trivia, but what's fun about it, you go to Kahoot.com, you can set up a free account, and you can create your own trivia game. So we did family trivia, and for the one side of my family, I actually sent out a Google form questionnaire with things like, what sports did you play in high school? What's your favorite food? What else did we ask? What other activities did you do in high school? What was your first job? What are 3 things that most people might not know about you? And I created trivia questions, had each person be the answer a couple of times to be like, hey, whose first job was working at the movie theater? And then you give 4 options, and then when you're setting it up, you can indicate who the winner is. So in order to play that, you'll have to set up the Kahoot account. Nobody else needs an account, but they will need a second device besides the one they're using for their video for the Zoom, or however you're doing your virtual connection. But they'll need, a phone or an iPad or something else, and you're going to share your screen to show them the questions and the answer options. And then on their separate device, they go to kahoot.it, I believe it is, and type in, there's a code for your game. And then they will answer, they know it's question 1, and then they have to say, okay, I think it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 are the answers. They show like shapes and colors. So I think it's the green circle is the answer, and they click that on their other device. And there's points awarded based on if the answer was correctly and how quickly you answered the question. So that can be a lot of fun. With the other side of the family, I did it which of the 3 siblings did this as a kid. So, who was the one that got in trouble for this or that. And so the grandkids or our kids kind of got a kick out of that. So you can come up with some fun things and make your own trivia, but there's also just standard trivia games you can choose within the Kahoot. The second game show, which we've had a lot of fun with, is Skribblio, and I will put the link on how to do that, but it's basically Pictionary, and you can play that on the same device that you're Zooming, and it will, I don't know if there's a maximum of how many players, but I think we played with like 15 with my one side of the family. But each person, when it's their turn, it'll give you a choice of 3 different things that you can choose from what you want to draw. And then you have a screen and you can draw it. You can choose different colors and different widths of markers and things like that. And then the other people have to try to guess what you're drawing, and they type it into a chat. And then it'll tell them if they're right. And you can set how many seconds you get to do it, whether it's 60 or 90 or whatever. And you're still connected through the Zoom, and so you can still talk to each other and laugh about things, but you're playing through the Skribblio website. It's a website. And if there's more than one person on your Zoom, though, they may need a second device. So like my family, we Zoomed in on one device, but since they wanted to play Skribblio as well, they did it on iPads and phones and whatnot. So that is also an option. Okay, the third game show is Psych. And this is one, you have to actually get an app and again do it on a separate device. And it's making up fake answers for real trivia questions. So each person will be given the question and you have to type in an answer, and then everyone is given everyone's answers along with the real answer, and they have to guess what the real answer is. And so you're trying to psych people out to choose your answer. You get points for how many people chose your answer, and then you also get points if you chose the right answer. So that can be kind of fun to come up with crazy things that are gonna throw people off that they think might be the real answer. The fourth one is a classic, is Would You Rather, and you can Google, there's a ton of Would You Rather, or you can make them up and just throw it out there. It's a great conversation starter, and then once people choose, you know, whether they'd rather do this or that, then you can ask why and have conversations about it. And then the last one is a game that we actually got for Christmas. We haven't tried this online, but I think it would work great. It's called Blank Slate. I got it at Barnes & Noble's. I think it's also available at Target. I'm sure you can get it at Amazon. But it's similar to the Match Game, if you ever watched that show back in, what was it, the 70s? But basically there's cards that have a word and then a blank. So this is like sitting blank. And everybody has to write down their answer for what they would put in the blank. And then you compare. Once everybody's done, you hold it up and you see if you matched with anybody. If you matched with only one person, you get 3 points. If you matched with one or more people, so if 3 or more people got the same answer, then you get 1 point. So for example, we played this the other night with my family, and I think 2 people said duck and 2 people said bull, so those people each got 3 points. Or if 3 people said bull, then those people would get 1 point. And then you play till you get to 25 points. But you can change the pointing system however you want, and you know, however long you want to play. But you can do the line in front of the word or behind the word. And you know, you can certainly buy the game, but it's probably pretty easy to just make up some things like star blank. We've got pocket blank, blank dog. So all sorts of different things. And you could have people, if they have a whiteboard, they can write it and show it and then wipe it off and show the next one, or they could just write it on a piece of paper and show it, and I think that could be a fun game to play online, and our family has had a lot of fun playing this. So those are the game show games that I think would be fun to play virtually. The next category is roll the dice. I have 3 games that you can play with dice that either, you know, if you're planning this in advance, if you want to buy bulk dice, you can buy them on Amazon. Just search bulk dice, and I think you can get 100 dice for like $11 or $12 or something. One of the games requires 10 dice, and that's 10 dice. Okay, so you roll 10 dice, and then you see the objective is to get all 10 to be the same. So you have to quickly gather, like, okay, looks like I've got a lot of 3s, so I'm gonna keep the 3s, and then you keep re-rolling the other dice until you get the rest of them to be 3s. So, oh great, there's 3 more. And then there's another one. That's another one. And another one. So then you have 10 3s. So, it really creates a frenzy because it's like a race. You're trying to get your 10 of the same number quicker than somebody else gets their 10. So I figured, I haven't tried this, but I figured that could be something you could do online because everybody's rolling and then you shout out that you got it and you know who got it fastest. You could also play variations where you assign people a number and they have to get that many of that number, or everybody has to get 6s or something like that. So that could be fun. The other one would be require 5 dice, which is Yahtzee, and I'll post the rules for that if you haven't played or have forgotten. Basically, each person takes a turn and they roll the dice, and they're trying to get dice that fit into certain categories, like how many 6s or a straight or 5 of a kind, 4 of a kind, that kind of thing. And so you could play it in rounds and everybody take their turn at their own house and then say what they got. And you know, there may be a way that to position your camera so you can see the dice. Everybody can be a little bit more involved to play Yahtzee. And then the last one is a game we like to play called 10 Grand, and I think there's some other names for it too. I forget what they are. But that requires 6 dice. Again, each person takes a turn rolling dice. They roll them. You get points for 1s, 5s, and then 3 or more of a kind. So you're just going to take your 6 dice and roll them, and you're looking for 3 of a kind or a straight or 3 pairs. And if you don't have any of that, also a 1 or a 5 can score. So it looks like I've totally crapped out here and not gotten any of those things, so my turn would be over and I would get 0. So let's try that again. So then it would go to the next person. They would roll, and here I've got 3 2, so that's 3 of a kind. I also have a 1 and a 5, which can score, but then I'd be left rolling only 1 die. You don't have to keep everything that is a score, as long as you keep at least one thing. So I could choose to keep just the 5, just the 1, or the 3 2s, but I'm going to keep the 3 2s, and then I'm going to roll these 3. And I got a 2, 3, and a 6, and none of those would score. So I would also what's called crap out on this one. So the trick is to stop before you crap out. So you have to decide, do you have enough points that you want to stop, or do you want to risk rolling again and possibly losing everything? 2s are pretty low. That's only 200. So the way that it scores is when you get 3 of a kind, it's essentially the number times 100. So 3 2s is 200, 3 3s is 300, and so forth. With the exception of 1, 3 1s is actually 1,000. And then if on that same roll I got 4 2s, the next 2 is worth the same amount as the first 3. So this would be 200, and an extra 200 would be 400. If these were 3s, it would be 300, plus another 300, 600, and so forth. Same for 5 of a kind. If you get 6 of a kind, you automatically get 10,000 and you win the game. So that's kind of how you score, and you just keep taking turns, and the objective is to get to 10,000 points. So here's an example of, I don't have any 3 of a kind, so I'm just going to keep 1 1. The 1 score is 100. A 5 on its own scores is 50. And there I did not get anything. If I were to get another 2 1s, let's say at this point, I could save them, but that would not be worth 1,000. That would just be worth 300. So you score those as individual items. You have to get all 3 at the same time to score a 3 of a kind. Let's see what we got here. So there I had 3 4s, so that would be 400 points. I'm going to roll again. I got a 1, a 4, and a 3, so I cannot add that 4 in there, but I can keep the 1, so that's 400 plus 100 is 500 points. I got another 100, which is 600 points. So I could choose to stop there because the chances of, basically I'd have to get a 1 or a 5 to keep going, but I'm going to try. I'm a gambler. All right, let's just pretend that I got a 1 there to show you what would happen. So then I would have 400, 5, 6, 700, and then you can roll them all again. And there I got 1,000. So now I have the, 700 points from before, plus these 3. So now I have 1,700, and I'm going to choose to stop and not risk that I would crap out. All right, so the next thing is getting crafty. So it's always fun to do crafts at parties, and a couple ideas of things you can do virtually. So what my daughter did, she looked up, I wanted her to do a Bob Ross video, but we found this other one that she liked better. She looked up a canvas painting tutorial for a design that she liked with these flowers, and they had everybody watch the tutorial online, and then I supplied the canvas and the paints and the brushes and everything for them to try to recreate and follow this tutorial to do their painting. So she did a great job with it. This was her favorite part of the party. She really enjoyed doing this. I will say it was not as interactive because they were all on their devices trying to watch this video and trying to do their painting, and there wasn't as much interaction, but she did enjoy doing it. The other thing that you could do that would be pretty simple is the pointillism, which I had done a separate video on that, where you could draw in advance an outline of a shape and you could freehand draw it or use the carbon paper like I do in the tutorial, and then have them use a Q-tip or the end of a paintbrush or something to fill it in with dots, or this could even be done with markers. And this is on like a thicker art paper, but you can also do this on a canvas. So here's Hey Go Brownies. So you can do it with any shape, and you can have a lot of fun with this with some pretty simple supplies. And then you can also buy other craft kits at the store, or you can check out my website at liveloveandcreate.com and order kits for everybody in your party for a craft and have them delivered, and just kind of lead them through by following the instructions online. So that's always a fun option to get crafty at your parties. So next I want to talk about food. So we wanted, with my daughter's party, we actually ended up going from, I think it was 4 o'clock until like 9 o'clock. And so we were trying to figure out what to do for dinner. We thought about giving people supplies to make their own pizzas, which we thought could be fun, but then we ended up deciding to do pizza delivery, and we thought it would be fun to not tell them and just have the pizza, show up at their door at the right time, and there's dinner. It got a little tricky because one person didn't have pizza delivery close to them, and the other one was in California, so there was a time lag, but we still all ate pizza together at the same time. We worked it out with the parents and whatnot. You could also just provide snacks, like some cheese and crackers or things like that. But I think it could be fun also to have other types. I mean, you could have any food delivered. If it's a morning meeting type thing, you could have bagels show up and coffee from Panera, or so many places deliver these days that you could have various things delivered, and it could be fun to have that aspect of the party, and then you can chat while you're eating and so forth. Okay, the next category is decorate it. So, we thought about, do we decorate cupcakes? Do we do, because it was Christmas time, do we do gingerbread houses, cookies? There could be, any number of things, a cake, we could do a nailed it competition, any number of things that you could decorate. We ended up doing cutout cookies since it was, again, Christmas time. We made the cookies, and then we provided different color frostings and sprinkles and icing bags and tips, and we went all out on it. But it doesn't have to be that complicated, and there are places that will sell cookie and cupcake decorating kits. I know Cupcake Castle here in Fairlawn will sell a kit for cupcake decorating with the cupcakes and the icing and the sprinkles and things like that. So if you're not inclined to go all out, you can still do it and purchase the kits. So the girls had a lot of fun doing that. And then the next category is celebrate it. So if it is a birthday or some kind of thing that you're trying to acknowledge, whether it's an anniversary or congratulating somebody on something, whatever your reason for getting together, if there is one, doesn't have to be one, you can do individual cupcakes that you deliver to everybody, and so then you can all eat your cupcake at the same time and sing and so forth, which is what we did for my daughter's party. But you can also do, I've seen individual pieces of cake sold in stores, or I know Tiffany's Bakery here in Fairlawn, I've seen individual pieces of cake package, so that could be a fun way to have birthday cake and have everybody get a piece and share in the celebration. And then the last two, these were big hits with both adults and kids. The number 20 here is drink mixology. So I went and got individual cans of juices and pops, and I bought some of the little powders that you buy to mix like lemonade type things, and also some alcohol for the adults, for the adult version. But for the kid version, I did Sprite, ginger ale, I think I did Sunkist, and then we did orange juice, pineapple juice, cranberry juice, berry juice, and then we did some of the powder mixes with like lemonade and blue raspberry and grape and a bunch of different ones. And then I put it all together on a chart, and I can give a link to this if anybody wants to just use it, and made lines for them and provided some plastic cups, and you can go all out and do like little drink stirs. I actually provided for the kids their own set of measuring spoons and cups, so they would get their cups, their drink stir, their measuring spoons, and then we also did personalized little mugs for them and so forth. So you can really, go do as little or as much as you want with this, but it does require some planning. And, if you are providing everybody with the supplies, then you have to purchase those and get them distributed. Or you could give people a list of like, hey, here's what you need to buy prior to the party, depending on where you're located and so forth. But what we did is we had everybody just have fun and just start mixing whatever you think sounds like it would be good together, and then taste it. Write down what you put in there so you remember, you know, it was 1/4 cup of this, 1/2 teaspoon of that, whatever it was. And then when you find a good one, then you share your recipe with everybody else so that they can try it too. And you can make up names for them and fun things. So it was a cool way to be interactive, because you're trying fun things, but then you're sharing like, hey, I tried this one, and then they can make it and they can try it and let you know what they thought about it. For the adults, we did, I tried to find the individual bottles of alcohol, and for whatever reason, I had a hard time. I mean, granted, I did not go to a liquor store, but after 2 stores and I couldn't find it, I decided to just buy a big bottle of alcohol and figure out a way to portion it out. And then I remembered I have a lot of condiment cups from my crafting business. So voila, we put alcohol in the condiment cups, and I just labeled them. So this one was just straight vodka. We did some flavored vodkas, a raspberry vodka. I did peach schnapps, and then we did some flavored rums. We did pineapple and coconut rum, and along with the juices and the pops and the powders and everything. So it was really fun for both the kids and the adults to really mix up their own drinks and try to come up with the next fun cocktail or mocktail and share their recipes with others. So I highly suggest drink Mixology. And then the last one, which was a lot of fun for both kids and adults, was a taste test. So we got the brand name and a generic version of some snack items. So for example, Cheetos, and we packaged them in bags and we labeled them. You can do like A and B, 1 and 2. I happen to have a bunch of these labels that were white and teal. Make sure you write down which one was which, but then you provide these to everybody in the party, and they can, they were asked to identify, hey, just by looking at them, which one do you think is Cheetos and which one do you think is the generic crunchy cheese snacks? And then they opened it up and tasted them and wrote down which one they thought was the brand name, and then determined their overall thought for which one was the brand name, and then we revealed which one was which. And then we also did pricing, where I cut out little squares of the prices, and they had to match up which price they thought was which was a challenge for the kids, but even for the adults was a challenge. So up to you whether you want to do that aspect of it. But we did Cheetos, we did graham crackers, which that one was a hard one to tell the difference. We did vanilla wafers, I did chocolate chips. What else did we do? Chips Ahoy, and Honey Nut Cheerios, and then the generic version. You can do cereals. We did just straight like Lay's potato chips, Cheez-Its, Fritos. You can do it with so many different things, and all these has really reasonably priced generic things that are usually pretty decent, so I would recommend them for the generics. And you can have a lot of fun with this and trying different snacks and seeing if you can guess which one is the brand name and how much more expensive it is than the generic, which is really, I mean, the Aldi's corn chips are 69 cents, which is just mind-blowing, and the Fritos are $3.75. Now, I will say the Fritos do taste better. If I didn't taste them side by side, though, I think the 69-cent version would probably be fine. So that's that. That's 21 different virtual party ideas that you could do for kids' birthday parties, for adult gatherings, things with your coworkers, and really take the opportunity to connect with those you love in a fun way. While we're still kind of holed up in our houses, especially this winter. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have other fun ideas to share, and thanks for watching.